5 tips how to receive feedback or constructive criticism from your colleagues or managers. My name is Alastair McTavish. I'm an internationally certified soft skills trainer. I've delivered training to thousands of people in more than a dozen countries around the world. This channel aims to help you to take your soft skills, communication skills, and leadership skills to the next level. So how to receive feedback or constructive criticism in the workplace from your manager, or it could be your colleagues. Tip number 1 is be open to feedback. As I said in one of my other videos, one of the world's richest men, Bill Gates, said, "We all need feedback to help us to improve." Think of feedback not as an attack, but as a gift. Feedback is a gift. Be open to the feedback. If your manager, your colleague wants to give you feedback, brilliant. It is not a criticism. It's an opportunity for you to improve. It's an opportunity for you to get better. Just think of in sport, if you like tennis or football or rugby, American football, whatever. If you're learning to play and your coach says to you, well, if you want to get the basket in the hoop, you've got to follow through a bit more. You've got to jump a bit higher. This is a great opportunity for you to improve. If you switch off to it, if you say, oh, I know better than the coach, maybe you do know better, but the chances are the coach has more experience than you. So rather like in a work environment, not always, but the chances are your manager has more experience than you, and any advice that they can give you can be useful. Yes, you can decide to ignore the advice, you can decide to take it on board, it's up to you. But I think really important tip number 1 is be open to feedback. Tip number 2, when you're receiving feedback from a manager or a colleague, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt what they're saying. Maybe you won't like what you're hearing. However, let the person speak, let them finish. Of course, if they go on for 10 minutes, you may well interrupt them. Or if you hear something you're not very comfortable about, don't interrupt them. Listen to what they're saying, and you might actually start to understand and actually realize that what they're saying is correct and it could be useful for you. So tip number 2 is don't interrupt when receiving constructive feedback. Tip number 3, when getting feedback, don't try to justify why you did this. You made a lot of mistakes in your report. Well, it was because you didn't give me clear information about what was expected, or you gave it to me at the last minute. This is not professional. Let your manager, let your colleague finish what they want to say to you. Then, once they've finished, you can, if necessary, if you really feel strongly about it, then try to explain. Like anything in life or in work, you need to pick your battles. Sometimes it's just better to say, thank you for letting me know. Other times, if it's happened again and again and again, it's happened several times, then you may well want to speak up and be assertive and express your point of view. But if you speak up every time, this can often get people's backs up. So tip number 3 is don't try to justify why you did something when you're getting constructive feedback, at least not right at the beginning. Tip number 4, when you are receiving constructive or negative feedback in the workplace, is say thank you. This might seem counterintuitive if you feel like you're being criticized, but any sort of feedback is a gift. As I said, it's an opportunity to help you improve. Someone's taken the time to give you that feedback, and it's not easy on their part. If you're not a manager now, in the future when you're a manager, you will know that it's not comfortable to give constructive or critical or negative feedback. So instead of trying to justify, just say thank you. You might find that a few hours later or the next day, you actually feel that, yeah, what they said was right. There was definitely some truth in it. Maybe some of it was your fault, maybe some of it was their fault, or some of it was due to things outside of your control. But initially, it's very good practice just to say thank you. So tip number 4, when receiving constructive feedback, is just say thank you. Tip number 5, when receiving constructive feedback, is if you are not getting enough feedback, if you are only getting feedback once a year in your annual appraisal or annual evaluation, ask for more feedback. Too many managers are scared to give feedback or nervous about upsetting the relationship with their employees. So if you are not getting feedback, or if you get feedback from your manager very rarely, once a year, you could say, thank you very much for the feedback. I found this really useful, really valuable. If you have more regular feedback, that would be great. That would be really appreciated. So in a sense, it's motivating your manager to give you more feedback. Likewise, it doesn't only have to be your manager who gives you feedback. You could even ask people below you or on the same level as you for feedback. This is not easy. It takes a lot of self-confidence. But without feedback, how do you know how you're doing? How do you know how people see you? How do you know how effective your work is? Yes, you can see what clients think of you, what your manager thinks of you, but the more feedback you can get, the better. So to sum up, 5 ways to receive constructive or negative or critical feedback in the workplace more effectively. Number 1, be open to the feedback. Number 2, don't interrupt the person when they're giving you feedback. Number 3 is don't try to immediately justify why you did something if you're getting critical feedback. Number 4, say thank you for the feedback. It's a gift. And number 5, if you're not getting enough feedback, ask for more. Encourage your managers, your colleagues to give you more feedback, because that's how we improve. So I hope you found this video useful. Let me know which of these 5 you are going to try and use more of when you're getting feedback from your colleagues or your managers. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Please subscribe. Got a lot more videos coming that are hopefully going to be useful and valuable for you. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.